Psalm 16, 5 through 11. You, Yahweh, are all that I have. You are my food and drink. My life is safe in your hands.
Within the boundaries you set for me, there are nothing but pleasant places. What a delightful inheritance I have.
I praise Yahweh, who guides me. Even at night, my heart teaches me.
I'm always aware of your presence. You are right by my side, and nothing can shake me.
My heart is happy, and my tongue sings for joy. I feel completely safe with you.
Because you won't abandon me to the grave, you won't let your loved one see decay.
You show me the path to life. Your presence fills me with joy, and by your side I find enduring pleasure.
Hello, everyone. I'm here in the Rainbow Sanctuary with my friends here, the Magi, the travelers, bearing gifts. Well, thinking about the Magi, our focus here in the season of Epiphany, been thinking a lot about their route from the place where Jesus was born back to their homeland, the way they navigated their way home by another road, and spread the light further and further. So I've been thinking about maps and routes and how we as followers of Jesus, as Christians today, how we navigate the many roads and routes available to us. Well, many of us are navigating situations and roads like never before. I don't know how many times I've myself said this or heard someone say this past year, there's no map for this, mainly in reference to the pandemic. I remember Jesse and I went on a bike ride and actually got lost. This was several months ago. Didn't have our phones with us, and we got so turned around, and we came upon this, which was definitely not helpful, but made me smile because this is how navigating life sometimes feels. Earlier we heard Psalm 16 recited. Good for that psalmist. That psalmist discovered the path of life that is God's presence, and the fullness of joy found in that presence. It refers to a body that is rested and secure, a person with a glad heart. The boundary lines have fallen for me in pleasant places. The map is drawn, in other words. This person, perhaps this community, is feeling settled and secured within God's presence. Well, again, good for people. Good for communities who find those pleasant lines, those maps that bring security and comfort. But I would guess those moments and experiences come and go for most of us. It's a struggle to find boundary lines. It's a struggle to navigate in ways that help us feel secure and strong and joyful in the midst of all the navigational challenges of life. I still remember years and years ago visiting someone I didn't know, someone in the hospital. I was a chaplain, and they were quite full of despair, questioning a lot of their circumstances and life choices. She felt like she was in the middle of a forest, an unending forest. She had lost all sense of where she was. She had no compass, she said. She had lost her bearings, and she felt truly like there was no way out of this heavy, claustrophobic forest. I think some of us can relate. And thankfully, there are Psalms in our Bible that speak to this experience too. It's not just all about finding those pleasant boundary lines. Well, like I said, I have these travelers with me today, and we are in the middle of the season of Epiphany. A time in the church year where we sort of map the light or trace the light that is spread more and more. A light brought by these foreign travelers who found Jesus and then took that light out to the world. The spreading of light. I'll show you here a wonderful illustration that I found recently in this book. Here is a picture of the Magi huddled with Mary and Joseph around a map, discerning which way to go, to protect the light, to avoid any contact with King Herod or any force that would want to snuff out the light and the joy that they knew in their hearts was true and beautiful and worth spreading more and more. As I look at this picture, I can't help but think of the scripture text that I started the new year with, that's been on my heart so much, Jeremiah 6:16. Stand at the crossroads and look, and ask for the ancient paths, where the good way lies, and walk in it, and find rest for your souls. Well, one of the reasons I've been thinking about maps lately is that the Bible study group that meets every Wednesday, we just got done with a series on the book of Acts. And that book is full of places and travels and different people groups. So we constantly were referring to maps to trace Paul's missionary journeys. There were many of them. Of course, Acts is also full of stories of Paul and some of his companions, times they got rerouted or perhaps even lost or lost at sea, shipwrecked, or times angry, violent mobs chase them out of a town or a city. It gets quite chaotic at times. It was a good study to remember some of those early church dynamics. As people were discerning the way forward, right? Way was one of the earliest names for people who followed Jesus. They were the people of the way, right? So here in Acts, we see the early church struggling mightily with discerning what that way looks like. We too are discerning what it means to be people of the way. We too sometimes get turned around, confused, perhaps even tricked or deceived into going down certain routes. we get shipwrecked and derailed. I've said this recently in these worship recordings, that there are so many ways to be Christian, so many brands of Christianity. So how do we discern which brand, what kind of Christian we are? What is the fruit we want to be known for or by? Who or what do we stand for? Well, I want to say just a little more about my current fascination with maps. I actually just ordered a book called Mapping the World, Stories of Geography, written by Caroline and Martin Lafon. It's, I'm told, I've seen copies of it, but I wanted to own my own. It's a beautiful book that traces some of the history of how we as humans have sought to chart the universe and our place within it. With images of maps from ancient to contemporary times, this beautifully illustrated book reveals how maps are never neutral documents. They are full of beliefs, myths, legends, and sometimes the prejudices. Listen to this review. Maps reveal their maker's worldview, as well as the myths, beliefs, and legends of their times. By patiently creating maps, globes, charts, and atlases, humans have sought to understand the universe and our place in it, prejudice and all. Well, I'm curious if any of you have a favorite map, and you can define that broadly. Let me know if you do. My spouse, Jesse, just started teaching high school art, and I noticed in our photo library that he's going to have his students work on their influence map, those artists or people who inspire them, and here's a grid that they're going to use to reflect on that. I think that's a neat project. That would be a fun Sunday school class for people to reflect on their own influence map when it comes to discerning what following Jesus looks like today. Well, this weekend at Rainbow, January 31, Sunday at 4 o'clock, we are going to gather via Zoom and have our annual congregational meeting. A time when we map, maybe, our year ahead, look back at what 2020 was like, map our finances, and make important decisions about leadership and who and what we want to be for in this world. So there's an important land acknowledgement statement proposal that we'll be voting on, and several other things. Often during congregational meetings, I sit back a bit. I do a lot of the work at the front end, preparing for the meeting, but I get to sit back at congregational meetings and pray for people leading and observe the dynamics and appreciate the fact that so many people, not just today, but in the past, have been so committed to this place and the vision and purpose, and who give of their time and resources to the mission and vision. And of course, we know that being part of a church, really any community, comes with challenges. We won't always see eye to eye on matters. We won't vote the same way. And there are conflicts that affect us in small and big ways. So again on Sunday, I will be praying for the health and the resiliency of this body as we keep hopefully discerning the way, the route as Christians today, that we will know deep in our bones, our bodies, that we will know that love that is found in the presence of God, and we will learn ways of sharing that love and light more fully. I now invite us to have a moment of centering, quiet, perhaps prayer. Maybe kind of be aware of your posture, your breath, how deep or shallow your breath might be. Unclench your fists if you're feeling tense, and find a comfortable posture and rest in these questions, and then that'll be followed by a time of silence and stillness. As we travel through these days of Epiphany, where do you find yourself in your map? What are you giving your attention to? Are you looking in a direction that enables you to see possible paths? Is there a turn you need to take in your map? If so, where might you begin? Who can help? As we continue to travel, blessings and good company to you.
Do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. The rivers shall not cover you.
Do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. The river shall not cover you. Do not fear, for I am with you. I will bring your home from the east and from the west. When you walk through the fire, it shall not burn you, nor shall you be consumed by the flame. I am the Lord your God, the Holy One of Israel. You are precious in my sight, and I love you. Do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. The river shall not cover
With this turning of a new year, and as we anticipate the beginning of the Lenten season, here at the church we've been having some conversation about cycles, not only the cycles of life, but also the cycles of church. What does that growth, death, and rebirth look like? And this image of circles has kind of risen to the top. So I thought that that could be a wonderful image for us to be thinking about as we move into our congregational meeting. And so there'll be some times where we will have reflection during the meeting, or votes are being tallied, or during downtime and discussion, where having a practice for us to do might be helpful. So I want to encourage each of you to, before the meeting, to find something that is a circle that you can trace. So maybe a pot of Play-Doh like I have here that you can trace the top, or perhaps a mug, preferably not one you're going to be drinking out of unless you've sanitized your hands, but that we can trace the top of with our finger. Just a way to help us center and remember that circle of life, that things are always moving in this beautiful pattern. So grab your circular object, and I will see you on Sunday.